Welcome along to Austria. It is round 11 of season 15 of AL2 wheel-to-wheel racing, and it brings us to the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, Austria. Austria shares a border with 8 different states despite its small land size. But today we're in the Styrian Hills at the Red Bull Ring. It's a 2.68 mile circuit. We're going to have 71 laps of racing after qualifying today. The track has 10 corners, 3 to the left and 7 to the right. Not a long lap, but plenty of overtaking spots with 3 DRS zones and a few heavy braking points, including one into turn 3, which will likely be the biggest overtaking opportunity today. So quick lap, the drivers will have to set up their cars for great straight line speed, but also have the downforce to get through the second half of the lap. Should be a fun one today.
Yeah, exciting to see what everybody can do. Just Mikey, our championship leader right now, ahead 57 points. Ahead of Bannister and Dastardly, who are joint second. So, championship battle still on, as we are only on round 11. So let's get our track information up. Who have we got out first? We got Old Dad's first out of the pits, looking to set his flying lap. So we'll go on board and have a tour of the track as he comes round to start his first flying lap. A few people coming out of the pits now. Got more Ferraris. Who else we got coming out? Dastardly's on his way out.
Steve-O is out as well.
So, let's ride on board with Old Dad's Rules, who's in for Racing Point as he opens his DRS, coming across the start-finish line. Coming down into a sharp right turn for turn 1. Early braking will get you a better corner exit, which you can carry your speed all the way up this long straight where we have our second DRS zone. This little kink in the road to the left, that's now classified as turn 2. Heavy braking zone into turn 3, which is a very sharp right hand, which caused some instance in the race. Straight into our third DRS zone, coming down to... I'm already mixed up with my corners, so there we go. Coming round now this right hand to the end of sector 2. Long left hand corner here. You need to make sure you don't go too wide on the exit, otherwise you will have your lap invalidated. Tight left hand again coming into sector 3. Now it's a tricky pit entry here, so people coming into the pits have to make sure they're well over on the right. As you see, the racing line comes right over it, as far left as possible on the track. Coming in, and Old Dad invalidates his lap on the corner exit of the final corner.
Yeah, and that can be so tricky about this track. Those last 2 corners, it's very easy to run wide, and track limits are not forgiving at all in this year's game.
What else we got on track now? So Steve-O setting a 1:04.1, which is a lightning quick time. We got Dastardly coming round the final corner looking to set his first flying lap, and he sets a 1:05.0. The Ferraris are very tight together there. Ted posting in a 1:04.1.
Same exact time as Steve-O.
Yes, but as Steve-O set that time first, Ted is demoted to the place behind. Chewy setting a nice time with a 1:04.6. So who else we got coming round? Old Dad is coming round again, but because he invalidated quite late in his lap, it invalidated his current and next lap. So this is now to be his first clean flying lap, should he make it round the track.
And Sega puts in a lap on the mediums, the first one to do so. mediums can be an attractive strategy, is you can go medium to hard for a one-stop strategy, as opposed to going on the softs. You're almost forced to have a two-stop strategy. So Sega taking the medium option for his first flying lap.
He may just be getting his foot in on the track just to test the track limits, test his braking points, make sure he's happy with the track, rather than ruining a fresh set of soft tyres, as Old Dad's posts a 104.8, which puts him into 4th place for now. Is Sega going again? Because I just seen he's got a purple sector 2 as I went on board with him. Oh, and he invalidates as he goes wide off the track between turn 9 and 10. Now we have
our championship leader has left the pits, out for his first lap on a set of soft tires.
So who else we got setting a lap? So next to cross the line is Mikey to start his flying lap. Should we ride on board with Mikey?
Yeah, I'll take you through this lap as he comes around the final corner. Gets a good exit, stays off that outside curb. DRS open across the start-finish line. And then it's almost a blind corner entry, the sun glaring down into the braking zone of turn 1. Really difficult to get that right, but he does it well. Smooth on the power out of turn 1. Got to get that straight line speed all the way down through turn 2. Heavy braking into turn 3 right at the 100-meter board. Swing the car around. Touches the inside apex. Gets on the power early. DRS open again, coming down into turn 4. This can be a really tricky one as the track just sort of falls away from you right in the middle of the corner. Gets on the outside curb, nothing wrong with that. Pretty smooth lap so far from our championship leader. He swings the car around. Turn 7 here, a fast left-hander and then a little kink to the right. And just 2 corners to go, really important to not invalidate your lap on these last 2 corners. It's very easy to run wide, and he's comfortably within the track limits there. And a really good last corner, and he puts in a 104.443, good enough for P3.
I'm sure I've seen there he had purple sector 1 and 2 as Bannister just improves his time and gets in front of Mikey there with a 104.3. Stevo decides to extend his pole, getting a 103.6.
What a time that is.
Time. So who've we got coming round? Dastardly is just starting at flying lap. Is that Chewy behind him? No, but Chewy is off at the moment. He looks like he's waiting to come back on track. Correct thing to do.
Dastardly improving in Sector 2, just less than a tenth quicker. Comes into the final 2 corners, swings the car around. He's taking it very easy there to make sure he doesn't invalidate his time, and he does improve by 0.13, but not good enough to jump Old Dad's rule in front of him, and he stays P7.
Just trying to see if I can find the qualifying times from our racing AL1. just to give a comparison of time between the two leagues. But trust that I can't find it when I want to. Bad admin. Should have had it sorted first.
We have Sega coming out of the last corner, and he improves by 1.5 seconds up to P8. Good lap from the Williams driver.
So who have we got just coming across? Prev's coming into the pits. We've got Ted looking like he's about to start a flying lap. Ooh, and he invalidates on the exit of turn 1. It's a tough track for track limits, but it's the same for everybody on the track, so difficult to try and sympathise for anybody when everybody has to do the same, but he looks like he's probably got enough fuel to go again.
And as I was saying earlier in the session, it can be so difficult at times. The angle of the sun shining down on the track right in the braking zone of turn 1. So there will be times if it's a clear sky during the race, that'll be something to watch for, as it can be really difficult for the drivers to get that braking point spot on.
Oh, and a letdown state invalidates just in the end of sector 2, which I don't think he'll be happy with that, but again he's probably got enough fuel to go again. He's just cooling the car down, ready for another run by the looks of it. Looks like he might also
CHM improves his time but can't move ahead of a letdown of state.
Sega improves by 6/10, which puts him into 4th place with a 104.4, which is very tight in front of our championship leader, just Mikey. Ted's coming in after failing to set a valid time, but 5 minutes to go, he should have enough time to get in, refuel and get back out to try again.
I think the racing point of Old Dad's Rule is coming onto the main straight to start another flying lap.
He's on 3-lap old softs.
Ooh,
and he invalidated.
Just invalidates in turn 1.
Which is a shame. So who else we got? Sega's coming in. We have a Ferrari around the last sector, which is a letdown estate. He's just coming in.
Yeah,
I think we'll be seeing a lot of these cars coming back out on track to try and set one final fast lap.
Yeah, everybody's getting in the pits now because they want to get on some fresh tires and give it one more go to try to put in the best lap possible.
Two cars setting a lap quite close to each other. We've got Dastardly and Prev. Everybody now on the soft tyre.
And Dastardly sets a purple sector 2. He comes up to turn 9, takes a lot of the inside and goes off the track and invalidates it. Unlucky for him as he was on a really good time, but he does have time to set another lap.
Prix improves by 50,000th of a second, but that doesn't change his track position currently. So a lot of cars out on track now. So just Mikey about to start a flying lap. Looking a bit cloudy now, so the braking point should be more visible on turn 1. What time we're looking at for sector 1 for just Mikey? We are looking at a 16.1, which is 62,000th improvement on his previous attempt. But he is 8 tenths down from Steve-O, so he's a long way to go to get onto pole. But we know that Steve-O's got quite a lot of qualifying pace. So we come round, he's 1/10 down from his time. So it looks like he's turned his ERS off, he's saving for the next lap. Well, he'll have one more shot to get pole or to improve his starting position. Top 3 all in the pits, so they won't be able to improve their time. So just Mikey and Sega both out on track, able to improve their time. 2 Ferraris out on track. And Mikey 1/10 improvement on his sector 1 time. Where is Sega? Sega is just about to cross the line. Does he improve? No. So Mikey is one of the few who can improve his start position.
And he has been faster so far this lap if he can nail these last 2 corners. Oh, and he cuts the last corner and invalidates. Unlucky for our championship leader. And I think Ted might be on his flying lap here, because he's quicker in sector 1. Could he challenge Steve-O for pole?
I feel like someone slipped in the top 4 whilst I was waffling away.
And Ted's slower in sector 2 than his current best lap. So he'll have to really make up some time here in the last 2 corners, which is doable, but you run the risk of running off the track. He keeps it just inside the white line there and off the track on the final corner.
Such a shame with these track limits. You could get really good time if you could keep it in the black.
Yeah. So that's qualifying done then.
Evening, Vern. Got a comment on my stream as we have finished the Australian Grand Prix qualifying session, and we have Steve-O claiming pole with a 103.6. In second place we have Ted, third is Chewy, fourth is Bannister, fifth is Sega, sixth is Mikey, seventh is Dastardly, eighth is Old Dad Rules, ninth is A Letdown of State, 10th is Prev, 11th is CHM, 12th is Mike Whiteside, and 13th is Appleplex, having not set a time. Can't recall if Appleplex was on a qualifying ban or anything, but he didn't set a time during this session. I've got another shout out to MYK Mayhem, who is a rival in one of the other leagues that I race in. And we have some wet weather. That explains why everybody was on the softs.
Yeah, everybody will be starting on, it looks, just based on the eye test, like light rain. So maybe the intermediate tire will be the starting tire, but we'll wait and see.
Now this is interesting. Obviously, I've got a report here, so it's wet at the start, dry after that, so it could be a very short spell of wet weather, which is similar to what we had on Wednesday. We had a short spell of rain towards the end of the race, well, more mid to end, which turned into a long spell of rain. So did they go with a wet setup for quali? Did they go for a dry setup for quali, or a bit of a hybrid?
I guess for the drivers it would have depended on how long it was forecasted to rain in the race. We'll see how long it sticks around after the start.
Yeah, I think if it was forecast to only be a short period, I think you'd typically lean towards a dry setup. And I ran a dry on Wednesday, and it seemed to cope pretty well in the wet, although it was only light rain.
And in case you're just joining us, we are here at the Red Bull Ring. It is round 11, season 15, AL2 Wheel2Wheel Racing Championship. And the Red Bull Ring, it's a 2.68 mile circuit. We're going to do 71 laps today. There's 10 corners, 3 to the left, 7 to the right. There's 3 DRS zones, but DRS won't be active, as it appears we have wet conditions for the start of the race, so no DRS until it dries up. And the Red Bull Ring, an interesting history, is founded originally in 1969 as the Austrian Ring. And it hosted 18 consecutive Austrian Grand Prix from 1970 to 1987. And then it was later shortened and named the A1 Ring and hosted more Formula One Grand Prix from 1997 to 2003 before F1 left, and it was later purchased and rebuilt by Red Bull's Dietrich Mateschitz, and it reopened as the Red Bull Ring as we know now in 2011, and Formula One has returned in 2014 and has been here ever since. It's a capacity of around 40,000 spectators, and last year, after the passing of the legend Niki Lauda, Turn 1 has been renamed the Lauda Curve. And the lap records outright for qualifying set this year by Valtteri Bottas and the Austrian Grand Prix qualifying was a 102.939, and the race lap record was set the following weekend at the Styrian Grand Prix by Carlos Sainz, a 105.6. So it's usually a fun track for racing, this one in real life and as well in this game. So looking forward to a really exciting race.
Yeah, we had the pleasure of being here twice in the real life F1 this season, which I think Red Bull was looking to take an advantage there, and it was all drama in the first Grand Prix, wasn't it?
Yeah, a lot of DNFs. I think only 11, maybe 12 cars finished that first race. And the drama between Alex Albon and Lewis Hamilton, probably the most iconic moment of that race. And then another good race a week later, maybe not quite as dramatic, but this track is one of my personal favorites, and it always seems to produce good racing.
Had a good time here Wednesday for our AL1 league. But I got some comments on my stream. A lap 1 prediction of a spin from Whiteside. Mayhem saying slightly moist, and Vern is asking who the co-commentator is. Never learned so much history when watching racing. Our co-commentator is Matteo, or Matt.
Matt, yeah, Matteo, Matt, whatever you want to call me.
It's funny Vern asking who the co-commentator is. He's raced with you.
It's just filling the time between qualifying and the race, and it's an interesting history of this track. Because it's been around a long time, but not in the current way. It's been restructured and rebuilt and reopened a couple different times. And it is now the Red Bull Ring that we are here to enjoy today.
Supra says props to Matteo. Nice job.
I appreciate that.
We are about to get underway, and it looks like most cars have the intermediate tyres on. In fact, all of them have the intermediate tyres on.
And I've just received a picture of the weather forecast. So it looks like light rain until really about lap 15 to 20, and then cloudy for the rest of the race, and maybe a little bit of sun coming out right as we finish up. So a wet start, but it'll look to be drying up pretty soon.
Always brings interesting strategy calls when we go from transition from wet to dry or dry to wet. Who can time the pit stop right? Will we have any safety cars which will enable people to get in the garage for a free stop, get them tyres changed?
And we've got an interesting grid here. Steve-O on pole, there's no surprise about that really. The last couple of weeks he's had really impressive pace in qualifying, but our championship leader all the way down in 6th, so he'll be looking to make up positions, as well as Dastardly, who is 3rd in the Drivers' Championship, down in 7th. And Bannister, 2nd in the Drivers' Championship and 4th, so all 3 of our championship leaders not in the podium places at the start. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on through the field.
Well, we've also got a couple of other drivers. A Letdown Estate, he's saying that this is one of his favourite tracks. He's one of the few yet to score a race win at Wheel2wheel this season.
And here we go then. 5 lights are on. Boogity, boogity, boogity. We are away in Austria. Our leader gets away.
He doesn't get away. He's not got away very well at all.
He's not got away well at all. And the Williams of Ted gets into first place.
A lot of traction issue getting off the line on this wet track.
Steve-O now coming back at Ted down into turn 3. And they're side by side. Steve-O goes down the inside.
A very tight Ferrari on a Williams there. I wonder if there was any contact on that very tight turn 3.
Now we have our championship leader looking to make a move into turn 4 behind the Red Bull of Chewy. And he can't get past him there, and Dastardly right on the back of Mikey as we go into the 3rd sector.
Yeah, we've got a lot of traffic coming around on lap 1. Obviously all the cars starting the race at the same time. Oh, and Old Dad's loses a bit of traction on his rear wheels, which allows a Letdown Estate to get alongside. A Letdown Estate takes that position from Old Dad's as he took the inside line on turn 9. Steve-O with the race lead at the start of lap 2, but Ted is right on the back of him. He's seen if he could have a look at turn 3, but he's too far back to take that. But Steve-O has a bad exit from turn 3, and Ted is having a look on the inside. Struggling with the straight line speed to get alongside Steve-O, but can he do him into braking? And they're alongside, Ted's locking up, but Ted manages to claim that position from Steve-O.
What a great move that was to get the car stopped in time and avoid contact. Had Steve-O right on his outside, but he kept it really clean there, Ted. Good move.
No ABS in the rain, it was a very clean move. These tricky conditions, meaning the field's just forming a train right now, then it's hard to get alongside anybody without a real opportunity. We don't have many positions changed after these first 2 laps. Chewie has dropped down 2, but all the others are just little swaps with the driver in front.
And no DRS. Normally, in dry conditions, DRS would be enabled this lap. But as we have a wet conditions, no DRS, which won't help overtaking, but might make for some really close, engaging battles.
But Ted's managed to increase his gap to Steve-O now, so if DRS was enabled, then Steve-O wouldn't have it to try and get the overtake done, as just Mikey is right on the back of the Red Bull of Chewie.
All of these cars in the midfield here, after Chewie, Mikey and the 2 Ferraris and Old Dad's, all so close together here.
Yeah, maybe Chewie's got a very dry setup on, meaning that these conditions are proving difficult for him. I think just Mikey will be happy to try and get past him at any point soon. Dastardly with a full ERS tank, full charge. Mikey's got a full charge also, but he's now using it to try and get on the back of that Red Bull. Mikey not really being able to bring any of a threat of an overtake to Chewie just yet. As the Ferraris choose different braking zones to tackle turn 3, but avoid any sort of collision. But that has allowed Old Dads to get pretty close onto the back of a letdown estate, and we have a yellow flag in sector 2, which looks like
Mike Whiteside may have spun coming out of turn 3. It's a really tricky exit there, especially in the wet. It's really hard to get good traction. So you're trying to get the power down along straight into turn 4. And he just might have miscalculated that and spun on the exit.
Old Dads is really trying to bring the fight to a letdown estate as he takes the inside line coming down into turn 9. Does he leave him enough space?
He does.
Letdown estate is off the track, but there was space left from Old Dads, but a letdown estate takes the inside line and takes the position before the start-finish line.
Oh, great driving from a letdown estate and Old Dads. Going into turn 9, it's a really difficult place to overtake there, but he went down the inside and left him just enough room, but a letdown estate was able to come back at him around turn 10, got a great exit to get his place back.
Appleplex and Mike Whiteside both in the pits now. Is Appleplex having a wing change? I have no idea. He's already out.
And it's saying he is
They're on dries.
gone on to the soft tire.
And DRS has been enabled.
Already, the rain's still coming down here on lap 5, but the track has dried out enough to where they've already had 2 drivers pit for slick tires and DRS enabled.
A tight battle here for 8th place, but I'm sure everybody will be piling into the pits, but that might mean a letdown estate will suffer, because if he will stack with his Ferrari teammates, then a letdown estate will probably lose out to positions
We
to
see
Old Dad's.
Steve-O
As
and Sega have come in.
They're down old pit. This is very interesting.
And
Steve-O onto a set of mediums.
the two Ferraris here might run into an issue as you don't know how much longer they're going to want to stay out on these inters, and I felt like at least one of them needed to go that lap. Or
Rev
one
made
of them
it
just to
past
get
Old
out
Dad
of...
there as Old Dad went very deep on turn 1.
The two Ferraris very close on track, and double stacking is not ideal in this game if you can avoid it.
No, as I think CHM double stacked with just Mikey. And he's coming out a lot further down. Effectively, we have 2 races here. We've got from 8th to 13th all on slick tyres, and we've got from 1st to 7th all on inters. But we have, as you say, we've got the 2 Red Bull drivers, 2 Ferrari drivers. If they all decide to pit now, there's going to be some double stacking and some positions lost by people.
And
none of them come in.
Dastardly still staying out. A letdown of state is in.
Probably a very clever move there.
So you'd expect Dastardly next lap to come in while his pit box is empty.
But this will be the test. Dastardly just set the fastest lap. Steve-O's just coming round the corner now. Are the slicks the faster tyre? I missed what Steve-O just got then. He had a purple sector 3 though, so it's a very developing track.
Yeah,
very
right in that changeover point.
And we have a yellow flag. Old Dad's. These were dropped right behind Prev now, so I don't know what happened
and we
there.
have Sega making a move on Steve-O coming out of turn 3. Sega got a really good exit there. Not much Steve-O can do about it. Sega is ahead going through turn 4. Let's just see
where
if our...
where was Sega in the battle with Steve-O before?
I'm not sure, but we have the other Ferrari driver coming in. Dastardly is into the pits. But our race leader, Ted, and Bannister and Chewy all staying out.
Very interesting. As Sega sets a 1:13.3 now. Dastardly put a 1:16 in, which was the fastest lap on his inters previously. There's definitely a slick track now. And how much time is these top 3 drivers going to be losing staying out this long on these inter tyres? As a letdown estate is pulling up alongside just Mikey on the medium tyre, so a letdown estate using them softs as he should be to allow him the better traction to get that move done. Mikey defenseless to do anything about it on the medium tyres. He's already a second.
And Ted is in
behind.
the pits, as is Bannister, as is Chewy. So the rest of the cars,
They were only 8 seconds behind Chewy. Got a right mix of softs and mediums now, which is interesting as well.
Sega sets another fastest lap, but a letdown of state sets another one.
That is an incredible lap from a letdown estate. As he pulls out just in front of Ted, and Ted getting in front of Mikey. Ted on the soft tyre, so he will be bringing the battle to a letdown of state now. These William drivers, a pair of them are mighty quick.
And Ted not getting a great exit there out of turn 3. Has DRS down into turn 4, but a letdown of state was able to build the gap coming out of turn 3 enough to keep his 3rd position.
Just Mikey now having to fend off his rival, his championship rival, behind him in the shape of Dastardly. Dastardly on the soft tyres, so he is going to have the advantage. Dastardly already with his fuel lot on, so he's either under-fueled at the start of the race or he's used a lot already. I hate when there's two battles going on at the same time. You can't watch them both.
Yeah,
I'm watching Mikey and Dastardly right now.
I'm watching Ted with DRS coming up behind the Ferrari into turn 3, too far behind to go for a move.
And Dastardly has put it on the inside on turn 3. Where is Mikey? Mikey is just behind, but Dastardly didn't overtake before the DRS activation zone, meaning Dastardly has the DRS to run away. A Letdown Estate is really putting on a good show on this track. He did say it's his favourite. He's managed to stay in front of Ted, and now his teammate Dastardly is going to be chasing him down from behind. Ted is mighty close to the back of that Ferrari though.
Ooh, and they both go onto the grass.
All this time it's allowing Dastardly to close the gap. Now sub 2 seconds. As Ted is having a look on the outside, coming up to turn 3. Ted's car is ahead, and he leaves enough room for a Letdown Estate on the inside, but a Letdown Estate now should have DRS to chase him down, but he's got too poor of an exit to make a move on this lap. Sega with a 4.5 second lead on Stevo, but Sega is on the soft tyres where Stevo is on the medium. CHM making it past Appleplex. Look like. Ted now closing on to the back of Stevo, so these William drivers are looking mighty strong.
And Stevo on the medium tires, not able to keep up with our race leaders. He's building the gap. Over 5 seconds at the moment.
Strategy might take him further into this stint. I'm just going to flick down to Old Dads as he's moving up on the inside of the Red Bull up Chewy into turn 1. And he gets the move done. Very clean. Both of them now with DRS from the Red Bull in front of Prep.
And here we go with Ted pulling on to the inside, going into turn 4. And he gets ahead of Stevo and up into second place. Another good move from Ted.
We've got Old Dads who's put it on the inside of the second Red Bull. He's overtaken 2 Red Bulls in 3 corners. 4 corners. Dastardly now close to the back of his teammate over Letdown Estate. DRS activated, coming down the start-finish straight towards turn 1. Now these two will be talking through the race, so I don't think these two are going to give each other a hard time battling. Because they're not going to want to hold each other up.
This is a track where they can really help each other out, giving each other DRS and just towing each other along, helping with their pace.
Well, they've both got an opportunity to take the fight to Stevo now.
Yeah, Stevo is struggling on those mediums. Well, I say struggling. Everyone else is on the softs that he's been battling with, so he's really been at a disadvantage in terms of pace.
Yeah. So what we're looking for tyre life on the softs?
So the softs can last a maximum of 33 laps, but drivers will be looking to go somewhere around 20 to 23 laps for this race. The mediums, they'll be looking to take somewhere between 30 and 35 laps. 35 getting to that point where the grip is really going to fall off. And nobody on the hard tires as of now, but those can last somewhere around 40 laps with decent pace. So some of our drivers that we've seen go on the mediums could have a very easy one-stop strategy if they choose to go onto the hards from the mediums.
So we could be looking at some long stints into this race from this point. Dastardly very close onto the gearbox of Steve-O. A letdown estate, just trying to hang in onto that DRS distance. Steve-O's got even less ERS than Dastardly, so this Dastardly will have DRS and possibly some ERS at his disposal to try and get a move done. Ooh, very tight on the corner for turn 1 for Dastardly, as a letdown estate gets a 3-second time penalty.
And Dastardly not getting a good exit out of turn 1 there. He was in a good position down the main straight. If he had gotten a good exit out of turn 1, might have been able to take the fight to Steve-O into turn 3, but the chance has gone for this lap. Look to close that gap and maybe try again next lap.
Steve-O is using his ERS to maintain his distance in front, whereas I can see Dastardly is banking. So he's able to maintain that 1 second gap to Steve-O without using his extra 200 brake horsepower at his disposal. Steve-O with less than 10% overtaken Dastardly nearly into the 50s. So as we look at it, we've got just Mikey in 6th place on a set of medium tyres. He went onto them at the same time as Steve-O. And just Mikey looks to be about 7 seconds behind Steve-O. So he's not doing too bad in the different strategies. Did old Dad's just overtake Bannister then?
I'm not sure. We can go down and follow this battle. Not much in between the two cars.
No, but I've seen old Dad's, he's been setting some fastest laps as he sets another fastest lap with a 108.0. But I've seen a position change, but I didn't clock where it was. But old Dad's might now be trying to threaten the 6th place, which is currently held by Mikey.
And I get the sense riding on board with Dastardly here is right on the back of Steve-O. And having a look at the outside, but he hasn't been using his overtake like you would think. He's really saving it up. I think he might be happy to just keep getting DRS off of Steve-O and following him around.
A letdown estate now 3 seconds behind Dastardly, so Dastardly and Steve-O are really running away with this. I mean, Steve-O is 6 seconds off of first place.
And Dastardly really close to Steve-O here as they go through turn 1. And he is using that overtake now.
Yeah,
Surely he's going to have a move here. Dastardly sets a purple sector 1 and gets the move done round the outside of turn 3.
Old Dad's also getting the move done on Just Mikey down into turn 3. Just Mikey now with DRS with a chance to fight back, but on the medium tyres we kind of getting the picture now that at this point in the race the medium tyres aren't holding up to the pace of the softs.
Yeah, and the drivers on the mediums will just be hoping that it'll give them an advantage later in the race.
Yeah, the field's almost sieving itself out with all the mediums dropping down and all the soft tyres managing to get up into the higher positions. Steve-O's still managing to keep DRS though on the back of Dastardly, so this might help Steve-O's race. Having now been overtaken by Dastardly, Steve-O can now just DRS his way around the lap.
There's about half the lap is DRS zones here, so if you can just stay within that 1 second window, it can help your race pace so much. And on the other side, if you fall out of that DRS window, it's very hard to keep up with maybe a group of cars that do have it. As we saw Wednesday, a lot of DRS trains. But as of now, only one driver within that 1 second window, and it's our championship leader, Just Mikey, who just about gets DRS down the main straight. But
he might not have it on the next DRS.
Yeah, he falls over that 1 second behind Old Dad's and is out of DRS range.
So as we're all a little bit more spread out now, we'll just do a rundown as we're on lap 20. Currently we have in first place Sega Takaz. In second is the second Williams of Ted. Third place we have Dastardly. Fourth is Steve-O. Fifth is A Letdown Estate. Sixth is Old Dad Rules. Seventh is Just Mikey. Eighth is Bannister. Ninth is Chewy. 10th is Prev. 11th is CHN, 12th is Mike Whiteside, and 13th is Appleplex.
And the two Williams drivers getting really close together here. As we come on to lap 21, Ted is in DRS range of Sega, his teammate.
I don't like seeing teammates on turn 3. I just don't.
And Ted pulling to the outside. And Sega just letting him by, not putting up much of a fight there. Good cooperation from the teammates. They swap around and stay first and second without losing much time at all.
Yes, because they'll be taking it in turns on DRS, I suspect. And they've got Dastardly only 2 seconds behind, so they're wanting to not battle it too hard out and keep hold of first and second for as long as they can as a constructors. Although Ted has now pulled a 1.3 second gap on his teammate, so he's showing some real good pace. Oh, but Sega had DRS then, and he's got DRS this time also, so that's going to help the run away from Dastardly.
Ted having a really good race so far, and he does have the pace to get a race win. He's got one already this season at Bahrain, and he's failed to get back on the podium since that race, but he certainly looks up for it today. Got a great
Strong
pace.
fight being brought from Williams. Sorry, carry on.
I was saying great pace. He's already pulled a 1.5, now 1.7, now 1.8 second gap to his teammate. And he's broken that DRS range, and so his teammate won't be getting the benefit of that anymore.
We've got Bannister quite close on the back of just Mikey. Bannister now with DRS, and he's got a full battery of ERS. Still looking quite far back. Didn't seem to have as good an exit as Mikey did on turn 1, but he's got mighty straight line speed as he throws it down the inside of turn 3. And there's not a lot that Mikey could have done to respond to that, but which one has DRS? Mikey has DRS as he is on the outside, getting down to turn 4, and Mikey reclaims the position.
It's a really good fight, and a fair fight between them, both leaving each other space. Our two championship leaders, 1 and 2, in the standings.
Yes, and with the exception of Steve-O, the two front medium runners, as I said, with the exception of Steve-O, as just Mikey picks up a 3-second time penalty there. Bannister with DRS again, and more overtake than just Mikey has to defend. Oh, and Bannister lost a little bit of traction on his rear wheels as he was coming out of turn 1 there, which has made him lose time coming down towards turn 3.
And Old Dad's Rule closing the gap to a letdown of State coming into turn 4, but too far back to have a move. And Bannister unable to get ahead of Mikey. So a couple of battles here between 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th.
Oh, we've had nothing but clean racing.
And Dastardly has closed the gap to Sega. And he'll have DRS now.
Yes, Ted also having DRS there on the back marker. Is that correct?
Is that the Mercedes of Appleplex?
Oh, but it's an AI car, which is really not very good. Because they just do random things which you don't want to do, and it looked like it kind of put Dastardly off there. Meant he had to take evasive action, missing his braking point and overshooting turn 3.
And Old Dad's Rule and a letdown of State going side by side into turn 4. And Old Dad's Rule looks to be ahead.
Got Mikey and Bannister dueling it out just behind as well. Can you take it in turns with your fights, please? Mikey looked to go quite wide there on turn 8, and Bannister trying to take full advantage of that. Bannister doing really well with his battery control because he's got 90% to bring the fight to Mikey again. I don't know which battle to watch. Dastardly looks like he's
just had to bail out of turn 3 there, as he might have brake a little bit late.
And a letdown estate was up on the inside of Old Dad's, and Bannister is mighty close to the back of.
And Old Dad's having a go at a letdown of State into turn 4. A letdown of State switches to the inside, but can't get his position back as he stays in 6th.
Some great battles going on here. I can't keep up. Bannister very close to the back of Mikey now. Mikey trying to break the slipstream of Bannister, moving onto the inside of the track as much as he can. Dastardly is close to the back of Sega. Can't watch all these at the same time.
I think, as we saw earlier, with Dastardly, he might just be saving up that overtake and then deploy it all in one lap to get the move done.
Bannister's gaining on the back of just Mikey. Mikey's moving on to the inside to defend, but Bannister's got a great entry into that corner, which means he's carried a lot of speed around.
And this part of the track here that they're on, it can be really difficult for the driver behind to stick to the back of the car in front, but Bannister doing well and getting a great exit there. And they're going wheel to wheel into the second to last corner.
Bannister's claimed the position. It was very tight racing there, but now just Mikey will have DRS to bring the fight back to Bannister.
And Dastardly is through into second place.
Sega's trying to fight it back. Sega's on the inside line, but Dastardly still has DRS.
And then we have Mikey trying to fight back at Bannister with DRS down into turn 4, but Bannister is comfortably ahead in 7th.
We now have a three-way battle for second place, which Dastardly just claimed off Sega to cars. Devo now is going to be looking to have the more prime tyres, as we've reached 21 laps with Sega's tyres, now 22 laps.
And the problem Stevo might have is Sega still is getting DRS off of Dastardly. At least he was there. Will he have it again? No, Sega does not have DRS. Stevo closing the gap.
That's it. Great exit from Stevo there. Right on the back of Sega. DRS open, overtake on. Struggling with the straight line speed to catch Sega. Can he do it under braking? Down into turn 4. Looks like he's going to be having a go. He sends it on the inside. Who will come out in the lead on the next corner? But no, Sega is still fighting it through.
And Stevo looks to have it done as they go into Sector 3. What a battle that was.
A lot of racing respect here between all the drivers. It's great when you're in a league that you can just put it into a corner knowing that the driver is going to be leaving you space. As Sega decides he's had enough of these 22 lap old soft tyres and he's to the pits.
Yeah, and Stevo will be loving his mediums right now as the softs are starting to fade.
Can we see much graining on Dastardly's tyres? Not from this position. No, I can't really see a great deal of graining on Dastardly's tyres. Sega coming out into 9th place on a set of medium tyres. Now, something else to bear in mind, those that went from the intermediates to the mediums, if they wanted, they could go medium, because we had an intermediate tyre on at the start, meaning the mandatory 2 compounds has been achieved.
Yeah, and that's interesting because it's not normally a strategy that would be an option, going medium from that early on in the race, but
Dastardly gets a 3-second penalty on the exit of turn 1 there, as Stevo has DRS chasing him down into turn 3. So Sega, having just gone on to a set of mediums, probably would struggle to take them to the end to 40 laps. An extra 40 laps, should I say.
Yeah.
But Steve-O could go another 10 laps on these and then do 30 laps on another set of mediums.
That might be the best strategy.
As I say, only brought available to the fact that they had that short stint on the Inters at the start. As Old Dad's picks up another penalty. Steve-O's pace looking pretty strong now. Dastarly's tyres mature to 23 laps. Got a little battle coming on down here as well, as just Mikey fires it past Bannister.
They go side by side into turn 1.
Bannister catapults it round the outside on turn 1, but Bannister with the DRS because he was behind just Mikey at the detection point. Bannister now closer to the back of the letdown estate than Mikey is to the back of Bannister. Again, this is as these tyres develop. Bannister having used all of his ERS for this lap. Just flashing red. Oh, and Dastarly's coming to the pits. Is a letdown estate going to be doing the same? He is. A letdown estate is right over onto the pit entry line. Which means that Bannister and Mikey can move up a position. May even move up 2 if they can get out in front of Dastarly, which I believe they may do.
And Mikey's going to have DRS, Bannister won't in this long straight through turn 2 up into turn 3.
Mikey's struggling to catch Bannister at the first part of this straight down to turn 4. No, but Mikey's seems to be banking a lot of his overtake now, so... Ooh, and Dastarly is passed on Chewy. I think that was a friendly let by. Rather different overtaking points. But Dastarly on a set of soft tyres again, so Dastarly has gone soft.
And our race leader, Ted, has come into the pit.
24 laps on his soft tyres, and we have yellow flag, who was... Ah, that was Mike Whiteside, so I think he was getting out of people's way. We have a tight old
lot of cars on this straightaway.
As Ted comes out in front of the pack, now drops down into 4th place.
Mikey will come out ahead of the pack as they come out of turn 3.
Ted having to fend off Dastardly. Ted right on the back of Bannister, but Ted will have prime tyres right now, just as Dastardly will have also. So they're going to be looking to clear these 2 cars in front of them on the medium tyres pretty quickly. And Ted's looking on the inside of Bannister on turn 9. Gets the job done before turn 10. Ted now targeting Bannister, Ted now targeting just Mikey, whilst Bannister's going to be looking to defend from Dastardly.
And Ted with a great exit out of turn 1. And with DRS is ahead of Mikey as they go into turn 3.
Oh, there's some tight racing.
What a great race this is. So many cars so close together. As Dastardly has made his way in front of Bannister up into 4th. So those soft tires working for Dastardly and Ted. Dastardly right on the back of Mikey as they come into the second to last corner.
Dastardly that close is probably suffering with a bit of dirty air from the back of that Renault. As Dastardly moves to the inside, looks to be an easy take with DRS. Manages to move over before the braking zone. Long train of cars here, from 4th down to 7th. Dastardly just managing to pull away from just Mikey whilst he's chasing the back of Ted. Ted unfortunately picking up a 3-second time penalty. I've got a lovely aerial shot of this battle for 4th. Devo now onto 30 laps on his medium tyres.
Fastest lap for Dastardly.
Sega was just having a little look down on the inside of Bannister there as he goes very tight on the inside of the corner of turn 1, and Sega with a blinded exit from turn 1 having a look on the outside of Bannister on turn 3. Very tight on turn 3, we're going too wide, but Sega has come out in front of Bannister, now chasing down the Renault of just Mikey. Dastardly also now really close to the back of Ted. Sega on much fresher medium tyres, looking to make the move past Mikey. And Mikey's down on the inside line, but there's that Mikey going into the pits.
He is coming into the pits.
Mikey pitting 30 laps onto his medium tyres.
And Bannister is in as well.
Mikey and Bannister could look at a set of medium tyres, and that would probably take them to the end. Bannister onto a set of mediums, and Mikey onto a Bannister on a set of softs, Mikey onto a set of mediums. Let down a state coming out just in front of Mikey there. Bannister's probably going to be looking at reclaiming a position from Mikey on these soft tyres, because Bannister will have to pit again. He won't be able to take them tyres to the end. Bannister, after that pit, coming out into 10th place behind Prez. Prez on some 29 lap old medium tyres, so Bannister is going to be looking to get this move done. Prez very wide into turn 7. Bannister getting the move done, as Dastardly also got the move done. Dastardly got past Ted in sector 1. Just Mike in a letdown estate, having a battle, but they're on pretty equal tyres as Stevo comes into the pit with a 16-second lead on Dastardly. So will Dastardly get the lead of this race after this pit stop. As Dastardly sets the fastest lap again, and he does. Dastardly is coming out the pits, coming out in front of Stevo, and just Mikey is moving on to the inside of a letdown of state. But a letdown of state reclaims the position as we have a yellow flag in sector 1. We have Chewy, he was off.
Mikey looking to have another go into turn 1.
A letdown of state replies straight away by reclaiming that position, heading up to turn 3. Just Mikey is going to have DRS going down to turn 4, but he misses his braking point and he makes a right hash of that turn 3. Mikey's going to be having a look. Try again this lap. Take that position off a letdown of state. Mikey already closed the gap now to 3/10. He's got his DRS open. Coming down into turn 1. I think he's going to back out and try again on the next DRS.
He's got a great exit out of turn 1 there. And a letdown of state might have a go at him. He has DRS now coming up toward turn 4. Has a look at the inside.
And he sends it. Great move from a letdown of state there.
Oh, and Mikey trying the switch back. Oh, and contact. Mikey trying to recover and get on the outside as they went into turn 6.
Yeah, I've seen a letdown of state move over. I think he probably wasn't aware, just Mikey was there. Mikey was having a look on the inside then, but he backed out at the last moment. Bannister sets the fastest lap. Bannister is now going to be chasing down Mikey as a letdown of state runs onto the grass. Must have been looking backwards at Mikey.
Mikey will be looking to get a good exit here out of turn 3.
Bannister just took half a second out of the gap between him and Mikey. So Mikey just needs to get this job done, overtaking a letdown of state soon, otherwise he's going to have a threat from a Mercedes behind him. Bannister now in DRS range of the Renault, just Mikey. His soft tyres seeming very powerful around this track. A lot of pace you can get out of them, these Red Bull tyres.
Oh, and Bannister right up to the back of the Renault.
Bannister will be hoping to get the move done on the pair of them, as just Mikey is looking on the outside of a letdown of state. Well past before the braking zone in turn 3, as Bannister is firing it up on the outside of a letdown of state. Letdown of state coming off worse there. But a letdown of state has managed to reclaim the position from Bannister.
And Bannister sending it round the outside! Can he make it stick against Mikey? Mikey just able to stay ahead in 7th. Oh, that was some effort from Bannister, and he's not done yet. Having a look at the inside of Mikey as they go into Sector 3. Bannister
Bannister
all over the
very
back of him.
close.
And now Mikey might be in danger of getting overtaken by 2 cars on one straight as a letdown of state.
He goes way too deep,
way
on
wide
the
in
corner
turn
exit.
1. And so Mikey able to get back into 7th.
Well, a letdown of state also has
and
DRS
contact!
very close on the inside.
The letdown of state tried to make a move up the inside and touched with the Renault of Mikey.
Hopefully they will have got away without any damage there, but it looked like a letdown of state waited to come back on track to allow Mikey to take that position back.
So after all of that, Bannister pulling a 2.7 second gap to Mikey. He's miles down the road after they were just battling, it seems like just a second ago.
Yeah. The Bannister was mediums and softs. So Bannister could probably look at going for another set of softs.
And
Which will mean that if Mikey stays on the mediums, then Bannister is going to get a gap in front of Mikey now, hit where Mikey may reclaim that place, but Bannister will then be coming back out mighty fast.
So of the drivers on the mediums, it's looking like Steve-O, Mikey, a letdown of state, and Old Dads should be comfortable in taking those mediums to the end. Sega might have to stretch a little bit more, as he's already been on them 15 laps. And we're assuming that our race leader Dastardly, as well as Ted behind him, will have to pit one more time.
Yes. So, I'm trying to remember now. Dastardly was soft, wasn't he? Meaning it's maybe unlikely that he will have a fresh pair of softs to put on.
And Steve-O looking in a really good position here, in 3rd, but not far behind.
No, so if Dastardly and Ted were to pit, which they will have to do, Steve-O will easily take the race lead very early. Getting some lovely aerial shots on my spectator mode. Gotta love a good aerial.
Yeah, it seems like there's the same helicopter cam can watch a battle through most of the lap from that same angle. Can make for some great spectating.
Steve-O closing the gap to Ted. Dastardly has pulled away. He's managed to get a gap of 2.5 seconds to Ted, but Steve-O's just took 5/10 off Ted in the last half a sector. Now 13 laps, 14 laps on these red tyres for 2nd and 1st. Are they starting to suffer with them tyres? Because Steve-O is looking to make the move on Ted.
Steve-O not getting a great exit there out of turn 3. So he's just going to be a little too far back, even with DRS as they come into turn 4. Big lockup from Ted.
I think Ted is a no ABS guy, and I think Steve-O is also running minimal assists right now.
Steve-O just backing off the throttle a little bit as they come into turn 9, making sure he can just get a good exit. And he does out of turn
deep
10.
into the final corner exit there.
Steve-O just lifting off a little bit early again, making sure he can stay on the racing line and not make contact with Ted, and he gets a good exit.
Yeah,
DRS open.
Made him take that corner just right, meaning he had a great exit speed. Ted being able to fight back now with DRS down towards turn 4, but he's distance away. Not looking like he's going to be able to bring that fight back. And Dastly's just coming up to some traffic. Who's that? That's the car of Michael Whiteside, who's moving over on the start-finish straight. And we have Ted in the pits, 14 laps. Ted's in the pits.
And he gets a speeding in the pit lane penalty.
That's not what the Williams drivers will be wanting to get. Is he coming in for a wing? Just seems an odd time to pit. Yes, he is having a wing. And some medium tyres going on his car, which he'll be able to take to the end. Got a very fast Chewy on the back of a letdown estate. Chewy with some very fresh soft tyres, so we should be able to make this overtake relatively easy, as he's having a look on the outside going up to turn 3. Oh, the big lock up. Runs wide. A letdown estate reclaims the place. So Chewy will have to have a look on his next lap, unless he can get some good traction around this sector 3. Big difference in traction between these medium and soft tyres. Chewy, good exit on turn 1. Coming down to turn 3 again. He's on the outside again. Can he make a better attempt at it this time? A letdown estate with a very tight line.
A letdown estate with a really good exit, and he'll have DRS, but not using overtake.
I think a letdown estate wants Chewy to go off ahead now and stop holding him up.
Yeah, as you say, he's on fresh soft tires, so we'll have the pace over a letdown estate.
So the best thing a letdown estate can do now is just try and stick as close to the back of him as he can, get some free DRS, run around sector 1 and 2 and try and get a quicker time there. So, lap 52. Going on to lap 53. Dastardly comfortably in the lead. 2 seconds down to Steve-O, but the tyre difference will begin to show soon. Dastardly is near his 20 lap grip limit as the letdown estate picks up a 3-second time penalty. Sega to Kos in third on a set of medium tyres, which at a stretch, you said earlier, he may be able to take them to the end, but a late safety car switching on to some soft tyres might prove advantageous if that were to happen.
Yeah, now as we've seen the strategies sort of branch off from each other.
Our race leader is coming into the pits.
As we've seen these strategies start to branch off from one another, some gaps have been forming, but a lot can still happen, and a lot of different strategies could bring up some very close battles right at the end.
Dastardly onto his set of softs. I'm quite surprised he had another set of softs, but he does. They're on his car and he is out of the garage.
And he comes out ahead of Old Dads. So you'd have to think Dastardly should be comfortable in that third place, not facing too much threat from behind, and he can really get his head down and try to make up the ground.
The only thing that would change his race now would be a major incident, but he's looking like he's 17 seconds away from Steve-O, and he's got about 17 laps left, and I would easily say that them softs would be a second a lap quicker. So
I think it is doable.
This would prove a very interesting finish to a race, should it play out the way that it is in my head right now. Have a look. Let's change my thing to leader. So Dastardly currently is 16.5 seconds down from Steve-O on lap 55. We'll see how he closes that gap on these soft tyres. Bannister catching up with Old Dads. Bannister's got quite a lot of pace around this track. He's managed to build that gap in front of Mikey.
And I'll tell you what, Mikey, admitting to us before the race this was not his best track, but this won't do him any favors as our championship leader. The gap will be closing with Bannister and Dastardly and Steve-O all ahead of him on track at the moment.
Bannister will have to pit again, so Bannister will likely fall behind Mikey after a pit stop. But Bannister will then be on some rapid soft tyres again, I should imagine. So.
And Steve-O putting in a fastest lap.
I thought Dastardly was going to be coming out with the fastest lap. But Dastardly has already caught the back of Sega. As Dastardly opens his DRS and makes it past Sega. As Bannister He's making the move on Old Dad's on the exit of turn 1. But Old Dad's is not giving it up easy. He's got quite a lot of straight line speed there, with Bannister having DRS.
And Old Dad's gaining very quickly as they go into turn 4.
Yeah, Old Dad's having a look on the inside. Was not wanting to give that position up easy, but it looks like Bannister has got the job done.
And while we were following that, Dastardly has made his way into second.
Dastardly 16 seconds to gain on Stevo. I think I did see penalty or 2 for Dastardly. I don't think I've seen any for Stevo.
I have not seen any for Stevo. I've seen at least 1 for Dastardly.
Yeah, so I think including the time penalties, maybe it's a tall order for Dastardly to get the race win here. Oh no, his Old Dad spins. He was very close to the back of Bannister, trying to reclaim that position from him, but exit of turn 3, he just put too much throttle and his back end just went quicker than his front. Whereas, what does Martin Brundle say? Where ambition overtakes adhesion.
And Mikey has fitted himself some soft tires. As I think he was on mediums, and
he was.
We were thinking
he
maybe
was on
he
mediums
might take him to the end.
For the end. Yeah.
Maybe he just didn't like his pace on those tires. And that makes this race interesting, not just for the Drivers' Championship, but for the Constructors as well. As Ferrari, at the moment, have both cars ahead of both Renaults, and one of the Renaults out of the points. So this could be a big race for the Ferrari team.
Maybe Mikey was looking for that extra point, as Mikey now holds the fastest lap. Still 12 laps to go. It's possible for somebody else to come in and have a go. Where we're looking, Ted is behind Bannister on some much younger medium tyres, and Bannister's soft tyres are probably not going to be feeling too great right now. I'm surprised Bannister hasn't pit, but maybe he knows that Mikey's pit. So if Bannister were to pit, he would come out somewhere around Mikey. Oh no, he'd probably be ahead of Mikey, to be fair.
And the soft tires can go a maximum of 33 laps, so it is possible.
Old Dad's having a look on the inside of Mikey into turn 4. Where did that come from?
So our championship leader down into 9th.
As Bannister and Sager had both pitted. Both onto soft tyres, which is expected at this point of the race. So is Mikey going to get anywhere near Bannister before he's out of the pits? I don't think he is. Let down Estate, I think, struggling on them 27 lap old medium tyres, as he now has Old Dad's and just Mikey behind him on some fresh, soft tyres. Old Dad's having a look on the outside. Coming up into turn 3. As Old Dad's gets a purple sector 1.
And now Mikey will be trying to get past a letdown estate, but a letdown estate getting DRS down into turn 4, and he stays in 8th. And now Mikey going through turn 5 and is ahead as they go into turn 6.
Yeah, Mikey wasn't waiting for an invitation. He saw an opportunity and he took it. Because now, just Mikey can concentrate on staying on the back of Old Dad's. As Old Dad picks up another penalty. I'm not sure how many I've seen now for Old Dad's.
That's at least 6. So Mikey will be jumping him if he can stay in 8th place.
Mikey's able to keep on the back of Old Dad's. Mikey is about 8 seconds behind Bannister. Bannister's gaining also on the back of Chewy. But Bannister will soon be getting DRS, which will help his advantage of Mikey.
Bannister right on the back of Chewy as they come onto the main straight. Bannister will have DRS.
Chewy went very deep on the exit of turn 10 there. Oh, and just Mikey has made it past Old Dad's on the run up to turn 3.
Old Dad's with DRS though, and he's gaining very quickly as they come down turn 4.
He is, and they have traffic in front of them in the shape of Mikey's teammate CHM. Old Dad's in a Renault sandwich right now, but CHM will be getting blue flags, so he'll have to move out of the way for this position battle to
And he's
go
actually
ahead.
might have hurt his teammate a bit there as he's given Old Dad's some
Oh,
DRS, and
he
he's
blocks
blocked
Old
off
Dad's
Old Dad's.
as he picked up a 5-second penalty for ignoring blue flags. That was not a very good move from CHM there. I mean, I think you could see that there was an intense battle going on behind him and probably didn't know where to let them by, but
CHM should be getting out of the way a lot sooner there, so as to avoid incidents like that one, as Old Dad's rule has really been hard done by there.
yeah. Yeah, and it's made even worse the fact that it's the guy's teammate who he was having a battle with. So, although they're all in a game chat, they'll all be able to hear each other. There won't be specific team orders, but that's what it would feel like if it were me. As Old Dads picks up another penalty. Old Dads isn't giving up though. He's still in DRS range, and he's still using it on just Mikey. Dastardly close the gap now to 12.3 seconds. I think
looks as though Steve-O will hold on.
Back. Yeah. Old Dad's still using his DRS to chase down Mikey. Old Dad's closing down onto just Mikey into turn 4, but Mikey's still able to keep the position well ahead. Looking back, I think this race really... Steve-O's biggest advantage was them mediums at the start, after them inters. When he put the mediums on and he was able to keep position near the front.
Yeah, he didn't fall back too much.
No,
everybody
with
else
all
was on
them soft
softs.
cars, all them soft tyres, he managed to keep a little bit of time and distance at the front, which I think has probably made his race to be where he is at this point.
Yeah, and he's only had 2 stops, as most of the drivers have gone for 3 stop. Old Dad's still sticking to the back of Mikey.
He's hanging in. 3 laps left to go. Gonna hang on to every chance that he can. Dastardly's gap now to Steve-O about 13 seconds, so I think it's probably going to stay around there for the rest of this race, I reckon. The 2 Williams drivers in 3rd and 4th, so really good show from the 2 Williams drivers today. I'm not surprised to see one of them on the podium. If anything, I may be surprised not to see both of them up there.
Yeah, they both were running 1st and 2nd for a while there. They look to have great pace. And just Mikey coming up to the back of Chewy here.
Chewy on some much older softs. No point pitting now, but them 24 lap old softs are not going to be feeling very great at all. In fact, you can see, or could see, graining on his front left and his front right.
Yeah, struggling to keep it off the track there.
Mikey probably thinking, I don't want to overtake on this straight. I want to do it on the next one.
And he gets a great exit out of turn 1.
He doesn't have much overtake though. And in
Yeah,
comparison, he doesn't have much straight line speed.
Chewy stuck right with him and is able to go down the inside, but runs a little bit wide. And Mikey's able to get through.
Old Dad's now with a Red Bull between him and just Mikey.
This is the last lap of the race for our leader.
Yep, Old Dad's with one last lap shot to get past Chewy.
And the two Williams drivers maybe having a little bit of fun on the last lap, as Say is right on the back of Ted as they go around turn 3. And Sega looking to have it go down the inside.
Ooh.
As we cut to Steve-O crossing the line and takes a comfortable win here at the Austrian Grand Prix.
Very comfortable.
And then Dastardly comes home second. Great result for him, and that will help his championship position.
Yeah, it was good race from Steve and Dastardly there. Good strategy, well held. Two Williams drivers crossing the line. I've got to say, my driver of the day must be both the Williams drivers. Great race from the both of them.
Oh, but Bannister jumps them.
Bannister jumps them both, and it did look like Ted had quite a lot of penalties there. So, as just Mikey jumps them also.
So Bannister up onto the podium.
So it's not what just Mikey would have wanted. His two championship rivals, both on the podium. But what a great race that was.
They had some really great battles, especially in that second stint when everybody switched to slicks.
Driver of the day, Dastardly. Quite well earned trophy that.
And Steve-O, our race winner once again. That's 2 straight for him. 1 last week in France and gets the win today.
Yeah. Steve-O with the most race wins this season. Had quite a few comments this race as well. From Vern, Supra, Dave J. Nice to see you all watching and commenting and taking part. But that was our Austrian Grand Prix for Wheel2wheel AL2. Matt, did you want to do a rundown of the finishing positions?
Yeah, so we've got our race winner, Steve-O, getting his 2nd straight race win. Dastardly in the Ferrari finishing 2nd. Bannister moving up onto the podium with no penalties. A really impressive drive from him. The first Williams driver, Sega, in 4th. Then Mikey, then the other Williams in 6th. We have Ted. Then Chewy in 7th. Old Dads in 8th. A letdown of State in 9th. Prev in 10th. CHM in 11th. 12th we have Mike Whiteside. And then Appleplex in 13th. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll be back next week for the British Grand Prix. Have a good week, everybody.
Thank you all. Stay safe.